What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Gaming Effect. We are...
Alright, you should put that as the intro.
God damn it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Gaming Effect. We are here with episode 6. Just want to thank you guys for getting us over 200 plays, which is extremely awesome. You guys also got us up to 20 Spotify followers, and we're also at, I think what I saw last was 47 plays on the last episode, which is massive compared to what we usually get in this time frame. This is a record for sure. Like, our very first episode, or I think it might be the second episode, has 48 plays. So you guys, so you guys in 1 week have gotten us up to what we have gotten on the first couple episodes in
all
about
the way from then till now.
Right. So thank you guys for all the support. We really appreciate it. Don't forget, you guys can find us on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, and my YouTube channel. All the links you need will be on all the sites that you're watching or listening on. And again, we just really appreciate all the support, and we're glad that we're doing episode 6. We have a special episode planned, 2 episodes from now that I can't wait for, and that's going to be our Final Fantasy VIII episode. But today, we are going to be doing Desert Island Games, and we're actually going to give you guys some behind-the-scenes information on what it's like to be a content creator, what it takes to get started, what all it takes to just be a content creator. So, I'm your co-host, Alex, aka Soldier First Class.
I'm your co-host, Corey, aka Dookie03.
And let's get right into episode 6. So,
let's do it.
By the way, don't forget to rate and share the podcast as well. The ratings help get us out there and all that stuff, so we definitely appreciate it. Let's go ahead and... what games are we playing and or excited for right now? Well, I'll let you go ahead.
I'm still playing Legend of Legaia. Hopefully by the time this is out, I'm done Legend of Legaia and I'm on to WrestleQuest. Legend of Legaia has been very good. It's been better than I kind of remembered it being. But it's also been way longer than I thought it was going to be. Like,
it is.
It's super long, hey? And it's like, it's not even that... I don't even know if it's like a pacing thing or what. I think it's just grindy, right? So the story elements are all really good, but because there's such a long pause between them, I think is what the pacing issue is.
I think, so you might be able to attest to this, but I think the issue is, like, even though the towns aren't very far apart, like, you're not traveling. You're not traveling long distances. Like, to make sure that you're leveled up enough for the next stage, you do have to do some grinding, and that adds to the playtime. So I think that's where, like, it's not necessarily a story pacing issue. It's more of, like, a level grind pacing issue.
Yeah.
It's almost too grindy.
I also have, like, a bad habit of over grinding too, and I think that's part of it. Like, because there was a couple boss fights where I was like, wow, I these were actually pretty tough. But that one, I think we're recording this on Friday, but I streamed last night, which would have been Thursday night. And I, like, fought that one boss, that queen chick or whatever, Queen Saru chick. And, like, I mopped the floor with her. I think I killed her in, like, 3 or 4 turns. So I think I'm over leveled now. So I think I'm just going to work. I might grind some cash. I'm not too sure, just to get some better gear, but because the gear is, like, super expensive in that game as well.
Yeah, it is.
But it's been a great ride. It's just some games I've been looking forward to kind of, like, all year are starting to come out now. So I'm really looking to, like, kind of wrap it up and swing into the next game.
Well, also, Sea of Stars and WrestleQuest and stuff like that.
Yeah, WrestleQuest August 22nd and Sea of Stars, I want to say, like, 29th or 27th or something like that. But yeah, and I want to thank everyone for getting me to 700 followers on my Twitch channel also, because we just had our 700 follower celebration stream where I tried pizza rolls and pizza bagels and strangely enough pizza pierogies for the first time ever. And the pizza rolls were pretty good. They're pretty good. Definitely do them in the oven or air fryer because I did 2 of them in the microwave just to see what they were like, and they were fucking awful. It was really bad. It was like eating like you know when like cardboard gets wet but then it starts to dry. It was like
Yeah.
eating that. It was fucking disgusting.
It's so funny to me because we talked last time because you said you were what 36, and
Yeah.
you're 36 and have never had a pizza roll, and like I remember those being like a staple of my childhood, like pizza rolls, ramen, stuff like that. So it's just really funny to me that you're 36 and this is literally the first time you've
Yeah.
ever had pizza rolls.
Dude, my mom came over because she's never had any of that stuff before either. So she came over and like wanted to try it all because it's not really a thing here. Like, I don't know, anyone who watches or listens to the podcast, if you're from like other parts of Canada, let us know if pizza rolls and pizza bagels are a thing there because they're definitely not a thing here. Like, I had to go to like every major grocery store in my city to finally find pizza bagels. And,
Really?
yeah, and my buddy Mike, aka DG Online, was helping me look in his city, and he said there's only one brand that they even like sell and make in Canada of pizza bagels, and I was able to find them.
That's
eventually.
weird because it's like maybe it's just like because it's an American thing. Maybe it's like here, you know, pizza and stuff like that. Like they shove pizza toppings into literally every kind of food here. So
Right.
I get it's possible that it's just like really popular here because I remember even being like on the internet like 10 years ago, and there was like pizza roll memes and stuff like that. Like everybody
Yeah,
ate
like
pizza rolls when I was growing up.
well, especially as a gamer, like I would see online people being like, "Oh, just sitting playing video games, eating pizza rolls," and I was like, "I don't at the
Yeah.
time I didn't even really know what that was. Like I had to like look it up." But like the only company that makes them here is Pillsbury. I found
Really?
they make pizza. Yeah, they're the
So
only
Tostino's
ones.
doesn't have a
No, they don't even. I don't think exist here. That company.
really.
Yeah.
See, that's crazy to me. But then
Yeah.
again, you know, I'm from the States and you're from Canada, so I guess, you know,
Yeah.
there's not always going to be that overlap either.
Yeah, it is weird because there is a lot of overlap because I mean we're so close, right?
Right.
Like there's a lot of overlap, but every once in a while there's something that's like I don't have any clue. But Canada's like that with provinces too. Like my buddy Fates, Josh, his name is. He lives in Manitoba, he lives about 10 hours from me. Like provinces in Canada are fucking massive. Like it's a 3 to 6 to 10 hour drive to get out of your province. Like it's just crazy. But anyways, he's from Manitoba, and today he messaged me and he's like, what kind of buns do you think would work best for a fat boy? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what's a fat boy? And I'm glad I get to bring this up in the podcast because this sounds fucking delicious. A fat boy, you know what a sloppy Joe is, right?
Right.
It's basically like chili on a bun kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that, but on top of a burger. So you have like a burger, you got your bun, and then your burger and whatever like burger toppings or whatever you want to put on, and then you put chili on it, and then your bun. So it's like a chili dog, but it's
So it's like a
burger
chili
form.
burger.
That's a thing down there. It's just called a chili burger.
Well, I mean, there's chili burgers. There's, you know, I think we have Fat Boys here, but I mean,
Okay.
the general gist of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it. And then he's like, fuck, I forgot that's a Manitoba thing. And I was like, I need to have one of those because that sounds fucking delicious.
Yeah,
Just
it
like
does actually.
when people started putting putting eggs on burgers and stuff, fuck me, that shit's good too.
Dude, and what kills me is like, and people wonder why America is one of the fattest countries in the world. It's because we will take food and be like, that food looks like it would be good on top of this food, and then you have like 4 different foods that are on top of each other.
4 different meals.
None of them that are healthy.
Yeah.
And then it's like pizza rolls.
Yeah.
Let's just shove a greasy pocket of bread full of pizza toppings and sell it to millions.
Yeah. So here, like when you said like, oh, that was like growing up, you'd pop them in the microwave, blah blah blah. So here we have like, and I think you have Pizza Pops down there, right?
You'd have to tell me what those are.
Oh, okay, never mind then. So
Well, no,
here,
no. Like we might have them, but they might be called something else. So,
oh,
like,
okay.
what are they?
Yeah, so we have Pizza Pops and Pizza Pockets, which are like the far superior version, but they're almost like big pizza rolls, basically.
So, like a hot
But-
pocket.
See, everybody says Hot Pocket, but I think that's different, isn't it?
It's literally like a giant pizza roll with toppings in it.
Okay, hold on. I gotta look up what a Hot Pocket is. Okay, Hot Pocket.
So, like, I think the thing though is like, so different countries have different.
Yeah, no, it's different. It's different.
Okay.
Similar idea. But the crust is completely different. It's like, it's kind of like Pizza Pops are like shit. They're like shit tier. They are like a more doughier kind of like almost like a fucking rubbery dough. Like it's awful. Pizza Pops. But growing up, that's like what you would have. And if your parents gave a damn, they would buy Pizza Pockets, and Pizza Pockets are like so fucking good. They're the same concept, but it's almost like a bun. It's more like bun material that's like hollowed out and filled with pizza. And that shit's good.
Yeah.
But the Pizza Pops are fucking disgusting. Do you guys do like bush pies and stuff?
I don't know what the fuck that is.
So I think that's where like Pizza Pops and stuff came from, because bush pies are like super popular up here. So it's like you get they make like it for like over a fire. You know how you can get like those like sandwich griller machine things?
Yeah. The griddle things.
Yeah. So it's that, but it's like cast iron and it's on like a hot dog style stick. So you'd put like you'd butter your bread like you would if you were making like a grilled cheese sandwich, and you put one side in this side, one side in the other side, and then you put like pizza toppings in it, and then you close it and you roast it over a fire, and that's called like a bush pie. And I think that's where like the whole Pizza Pop came from, except this is like toasted bread and Pizza Pops are like shitty rubbery dough. But the Pizza Pockets are great because it's like a bun with pizza in it, like a hollowed out bun.
It could also be too because of like different regulations that like Canada might have as compared to us. So like maybe it's not beneficial to bring like pizza rolls en masse to Canada. I don't know, like could just be the regulations and stuff. But
I think it's similar in the aspect that when I was a kid, if we didn't have anything else to eat, or if I just wanted a snack, I'd throw like Pizza Pops or Pizza Pockets in the fridge, right? Or in the fridge, in the microwave to heat them up and eat them, and then go do something. Burn my mouth, of course, because the center's ice cold and the rest of it's fucking liquid hot magma.
Right. It just like everything made in the microwave. The whole outside of it's like molten hot, and then the inside's like an ice cube has been shoved in there. But so I am still playing Baldur's Gate. I'm in Act 3 now, which Act 1 and 2 were super, super good. I'm now in actually Baldur's Gate. Like I'm in the city of Baldur's Gate. And just had a pretty hard fight that I just got done. Sometimes fights feel like a crapshoot. Like you might get lucky and this enemy misses 3 attacks in a row. And then you can dominate that enemy. And then other times there's like the enemy never misses and you're just demolished. And there's like, it's cool because like there's different ways you can approach the combat, but also different ways you can approach each fight.
Okay.
So like there might be a flaming barrel or something, or like a barrel that has oil in it, and you can shoot it with like a flaming arrow or a fire attack or whatever. And not only will whatever is in that fire attacks area like explode or whatever, the barrel will actually explode, and then that does even more damage, and then you can like take out an enemy sometimes just using the barrel and the fire attack. But there's also times where like there's these hidden like DPS checks a little bit where you will like so the one I just did, there's two portals, one on each side of the room, and you you should take out the people that are maintaining those portals, because if you don't, then more and more enemies will flood into the arena, and you'll have to. Yeah. So, like, you can walk up, and without triggering the conversation, you can fire an arrow and kill one of the gatekeepers. And then when you get into combat is when, like, you actually start the fight. So you start the fight out with one of them already dead.
Oh, okay.
Or you could walk into the room and use one of your attacks to kill her during combat. But the goal is still to take those two out, because they're keeping the portal open for other enemies to come through.
To keep coming through, yeah.
But yeah, so I just love the approachability and the adaptability of combat. It's a lot of fun. The interaction with the characters are great. Like, I'm really, really enjoying it. I actually stopped playing Legend of Legaia because of Baldur's Gate 3, so I've been mostly watching your playthrough of it.
Yeah.
And then I just bought Madden 24. I know, basic bitch sports game, but I buy it every year, unfortunately for me. I buy it every year.
Games are too expensive to do that.
I know. But yeah, I bought Madden 24 this year. Having a little bit of fun with it. Haven't really had a chance to really dive into it too much today. I am excited for it. And I forgot this game the last time we were talking. Armored Core 6.
Oh, yeah, that comes out September 6th or something, isn't it?
I think it's sooner than that. I don't remember. But maybe it is September 6th. I'd have to check again. But other than that, just the games that we've been playing, you know, Baldur's Gate, Legend of Legaia, you know, for me, Madden and Armored Core, I'm pretty excited for those.
You know what you reminded me of when you said, like, the approachability and stuff? You ever play, like, the Metal Gear games?
Yes.
Remember the end, how there's like so many different ways you can kill them and stuff?
Well, there's like, even just in the game, there's so many different ways that you can approach stuff. Like,
yeah.
It's always nice to have options.
That game was so ahead of its time. Hey,
oh,
like
for
Metal
sure.
Gear Solid 3. I would always kill the end during that cut. It's either before or during that cutscene where it's like him and Volgin outside and he's in like the wheelchair. And I remember, just sniping him, and then it's like, all right, now don't fight that fucker. That guy's a hard as fuck, man, to fight him legit. And I remember because I got the platinum in that game, and one of the trophies is you have to sneak up and hold them, like, you know, you can hold people up to like get free stuff from them. And yeah, you get like his camouflage and stuff, but it's like, fuck me, that's so hard. Like, he's probably the hardest boss in that game, so I'm glad that there's workarounds to not have to fight that guy.
Well, and like some of the adaptability stuff, like figuring out that Psycho Mantis switched your controller port, you know.
Oh yeah,
like
in the
stuff like that. Yeah, it was way ahead of its time.
Super Mario sometimes. But he's like starts listing off the games on your memory card in the Twin Snakes version or whatever.
There's a lot of good games coming out. Sea of Stars is coming out soon. It's just, there's so many good games coming out recently. Till we hit the inevitable lull in video game releases where there's like nothing for months.
Yeah, which I'm okay with. Like, I feel like since what was it, like 2017, I feel like we've been like pretty spoiled when it comes to good games coming out. To the point where like I already had a massive backlog and now it's just growing, and I'm like, it's almost to the point where like I'm never gonna get to some of these games that are coming out.
Yeah, it's getting worse.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like I'm a little. I kind of hope that we have a couple shit years now for games. Don't release any good games.
I'm excited. Oh, I forgot Spider-Man 2 also is coming out soon. I think October.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, there's a lot.
That Star Ocean 2 kind of remake, kind of.
Yeah. Which I'm like, about.
It's a weird concept they went with it. Hey, like the 2D sprites on a completely HD 3D world. Like, that was super weird. But I don't know if I'm gonna get it. I think I'm just gonna play I have the PSP version of Star Ocean 2, so I've never played it. So I think I'm gonna play that one. But
yeah, I mean, if you've already got it and you have access to it, might as well.
Yeah.
But so let's get into one of our main topics. I wasn't sure which one we wanted to do first, so I just decided that Desert Island Games would be our first run. Mostly because I don't think this one's going to take as long, and, you know, content creation's probably going to take a little bit longer. So, desert island games, the games that if you were stranded on a desert island for the rest of your life, these are the only games you could play.
Yeah.
Let's set a parameter. What limit of games, like how many games are we allowed to take with us?
Say a total of 5, and only 2 can use online components.
2 can use online components. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to knock out one of my number 1 online ones, and I think my number 1 online game would be Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah.
I feel like that one has enough to do in it being an MMO that I could legitimately spend the rest of my life playing it online with other people and having contact and stuff like that, and being able to do all the content in the game. And obviously, like, if this is for the rest of my life, like, I would have enough time to dedicate to get really good at it, do the ultimate raids, and do pretty much everything available in the game. So I think Final Fantasy XIV would probably be my first online game.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with an MMO as well. I think I'll probably have to go with like Star Trek Online for that one, because I've probably spent like 600 hours playing it, and I still play it like pretty much every night to a certain degree. Like, MMOs just have so much stuff to do. Like, even if it's not priority stuff to do, like, once you finish the story, there's just and you're bored, and you can always find something to do in an MMO, it seems like.
Right.
Or, like, build a new character or whatever, right?
Yeah. Well, and you're on a desert island, so you kind of have to have stuff to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So my next one, and here's the thing, you have to wonder, like, are these games going to be in a series where you have to play all of them to get the context, or is there a specific game in that series that you like, but you don't like the others?
Yeah,
and anthologies like Final Fantasy really help because, well, obviously they're all different, so unless you're, like, choosing to take 13, 13-2, and Lightning Returns because you fucking hate yourself on this desert island, you're like, I'm depressed, I'm on this desert island, I fucking hate myself. Time to play all the 13 games. No, I think...
need something to make these gator attacks not feel so bad.
Yeah.
In comparison.
I think my number 2, because of that, would have to be Final Fantasy X. It's a game I've put several hours into.
You can finally max out the sphere grid.
Right, I can finally max out the... Yeah, I can finally max out the sphere grid. It doesn't require online, and I know just about everything there is to know about that game, so it's definitely one that I could see myself playing for a long time.
For myself, my next one, this would be like an offline one. It could be an online one too, honestly, because there's like a lot of online content. But Dragon Quest IX, it's just... it's infinite. Like, the game, there's so much to do. I streamed it co-op for, like, man, it felt like, I think it was like almost a year, and we just, like, we beat the story, and then probably like the extra like 80 hours was just post game, because the way it works is there's these things called grottos, and they're like treasure maps, and when you find the where the X marks the spot or whatever, the grotto pops up, like the entrance, and you go inside, and it's a randomly generated dungeon, right? And then when you beat the grotto, you get another grotto map, and like that literally goes on forever. And then eventually you fight like bosses from previous Dragon Quest games and all kinds of stuff like that, right? So it's like an endless game. There's like, I think there's over 900 side quests in the game if you count the online ones. If you don't count the online ones, I think there's like 300 and some side quests. Like, there's just so much content. I don't think it's possible to do everything in that game. Like, I don't think it ends.
I also, while you were talking about that, I thought about something too. If you think about it, this kind of circumvents the not being able to bring music with you thing. Because if you like video game music as much as we do, bringing along games that have like Final Fantasy X or Final Fantasy XIV soundtracks, or, you know, whatever games that you love the soundtracks to, could also benefit you in the way of like, you have something to listen to. Right. Yeah. So the 2 Final Fantasy games I picked definitely would help in that regard.
Yeah.
I think my third game, and I would say this is an offline game, even though there are online components.
Yeah. Yeah.
Elden Ring. I've put
Oh yeah. There's a lot.
I've put 333 hours into that game, over 5 playthroughs, and I could literally, like, in that game, even though the bosses stay the same,
Yeah.
you have the ability to make all these different builds and all these different, like, areas that, like, I still haven't been to every single area in the game, and I've played it for 333 hours. Like, there is so much to do and so much left I still have to do in that game that me taking it with me on a desert island would be perfect, because I could see myself just breaking the absolute shit out of that game if I had to play those games for the rest of my life.
Yeah, there's so many games that have like like seemingly endless amounts of content, and if they don't have endless amounts of content, there's endless amounts of ways you can play. Like that's the other thing with Dragon Quest 9 is and any game really where there's like job classes and switching of job classes cuz you can just min max. What the fuck was that?
A fly.
Just this huge fucking thing flies towards the camera. But with when there's multiple different job classes and job class changes, like the ability to change job classes, it just adds so much replayability and stuff to the game. And even if it's not replayability, just continuously building your character, trying out new things, stuff like that. For my next one though, man, I think I would have to go with. Oh, that's a tough one. I want something that like kind of like lasts forever, but also something that I could just play over and over again too. Like something that's not necessarily super long.
Yeah, I feel it, because I was thinking of, like, RPGs are perfect for a desert island, because, like, you can play through them and every playthrough is going to take you like 50 hours minimum.
Yeah,
So like anything with
because you could like with 5 games, you could just like rotate between
right.
them, and you're getting a couple years worth out of like each rotation. Sometimes, maybe even depending.
Well, right, and you want to get like something that you can play, but if you're bored with it, like, you can swap to something else. So you don't want to play, like, okay, so like Final Fantasy 14 and Final Fantasy 10, like, those are very not super similar games, but they're, RPGs.
Yeah, you need a
You know,
break. You need a
you
break from
need,
that.
like, a variety
Something
of
to
games.
cut. Yeah, cut the diversity. I think I would go honestly with NBA Jam on Fire Edition on PS3.
Really?
Yeah, I think so because it's just so much goddamn fun. You've got there's so many different teams. Like I was gonna go with Tournament Edition. Like I have Tournament Edition on 32X and Genesis and stuff like that. But I really like. I'm gonna get fucking hate for this, but I think the PS3, the On Fire Edition, is the best NBA Jam game, and it's just I don't know, man. I love NBA Jam, and it's always a good time. And there's so much to do in that one. Like with the Genesis ones, there's like just play through and beat every team basically, right? Like you do like
Hmm.
arcade mode. But with the PS3 one, it was very like there was that mode. You could do that if you wanted. But then there was my phone ringing incredibly loud. Hold on. Yeah, so you've got the standard arcade mode, just like all the classic NBA Jam games. But then you've got I don't know what it's called. Like there's conferences, and then what is the other one that's like smaller areas in
Divisions.
sports? Yeah. So you've got like all the different divisions you have to conquer. So you have to beat this you beat this team, and then you beat this team under certain like circumstances, and then you play like some weird like mini game thing against this team, and then you have to beat this team with its best players it's ever had. And
Oh,
then you have to
okay.
do that to like all the different teams and stuff. So there's like a lot of stuff to do, a lot of stuff you can unlock, different characters, different teams, different basketballs. Like fuck, there's a lot going on in that game, and it's a blast to play. It's the best to control. Like I said, I grew up playing it on the Genesis, and like the controls are super awkward on that because you're like holding the C button, which is way over here, and then you want to like shoot by going like C is your turbo, right? And I don't know. It was always kind of weird, the controls. But with this, you can like just hold R2 or whatever for your turbo, and it's just a great fucking game.
So I think game number 4 for me, and we're kind of repeating a few that we had in the last episode when we talked about comfort games, because I mean they kind of go hand in hand. But
Yeah, you might need some comfort while you're getting attacked by wild boars and
yeah. So I think if I were going to go with a number 4, it would probably be a game in the Super Mario franchise, and I think it would probably, again, I think it would either have to be Super Mario Brothers 3 or Super Mario Brothers World.
I'll go with
Because
World, because you got Star Road and all that shit. in
Right, you got
World.
Star
Like, there's
Road.
way more to do.
right, but I don't know. Super Mario Brothers 3 is special to me, but I think if we're gonna go, I'll say Super Mario World. I think I have replayed it enough times that I still love replaying it.
Keep in mind, you aren't going to have access to a guide, so you need a game that you kind of know as well, right?
Right. That
Yeah.
that too. Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I would say Super Mario World would be my number 4.
Mine would be, I'm gonna go with Dragon Quest 7, but actually Dragon Warrior 7, the PS1 version. The game's over 140 hours long, which is super fucking long for a PS1 JRPG. And it had, like, when they did the remake on the 3DS, they took out they kind of nerfed your party a little bit. In the original 7, you could, any job class, any skills or abilities you learned in that job class would just you had those forever. So when you changed to another job class, you had all the spells and abilities from the one you just learned from and stuff. Whereas in the 3DS remake, you can only carry over spells and abilities that are already learnable in the other job class, kind of thing. But I just remember, like, the amount of hours you could spend to max out all the job classes in that game, and then you can have like every single ability. But then there's also monster job classes where if you steal a monster heart, you can get it's basically a job class where as if you had all the abilities of that type of monster. So then there's
nice.
all the so there's like all the monster job classes. Like, there's so many job classes, and there's the fact that they all carry over makes it way more worthwhile to do it in that version than it would in the 3DS remake. And I just think I could spend out, like, I love grinding. I could spend fucking hours just doing that, and it's got a great story and everything too.
So do you count? So let me ask you this: if we're going games, does that count when a company releases 3 games on the same disc?
I would say that counts.
So, like, if they were to release, like, the Mega Man collection on PS4.
No, we gotta say no, because otherwise I'm gonna totally just go with that.
Right. So I didn't know if that was one.
Yeah, let's go with no. Let's go
I
with
didn't know if, because
that's like, I mean, fuck, that's 6 of like some of my favorite games, right?
Right. So I was asking because I was thinking Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Ooh, that would be good. Yeah.
Because it has all 3 Mass Effect games plus the DLC in it.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if, like, we could count that as a game because it was all on the same
on
disc.
one disc. Yeah, I'm gonna say no, just because then we'll end up just with a bunch of compilations, basically.
Right. Then we'd just be like, oh yeah,
Final Fantasy Anthology.
Right.
Yeah, Final Fantasy Chronicles.
Right. So I think my number 5, and mostly inspired because of music, I would say my number 5 is Chrono Trigger.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say, as soon as you said music, I was like, he's not gonna say fucking Rock Band.
Well, actually, you know what? That's not a bad choice for a desert island game, to be honest. If you were going to pick one,
that's true. It's not
that wouldn't be a bad choice. But no, I think Chrono Trigger. I think with its short playtime, the sheer amount of different choices you can make, the different character side quests, the fact that you can either kill or recruit certain characters that I won't name for spoiler purposes. the fact that the soundtrack is one of the greatest soundtracks of all time,
Yeah.
I think Chrono Trigger has to be my number 5.
Which version are you bringing though?
The one that doesn't have the shitty ass load times.
Yeah, but so the DS one, the Steam one,
I would say probably Steam because that's the one I played most recently.
Oh, is it? Okay. I've only ever played the PS1 version. And so the load times don't bother me because I'm used to them. But
Yeah, you mean the 30-second load times every time you open a menu?
yeah,
Jesus Christ.
I don't mind them. I'm used to them. Okay, so man, I had one and now I kind of forget it. But it was a toss up between. Fuck, what was it gonna be now, man? Can't fucking remember.
Was it the Mega Man thing?
No, yeah, that's what threw me off. Because I had, oh man, what the fuck? It was gonna be a toss up. It was like a toss up between Dragon Quest 11 and what the hell?
I love how literally all of yours have been Dragon Quest 11 and then like one game that's not Dragon Quest.
Yeah, no, it was something that wasn't like that at. Oh, Shadowrun. So I was gonna say either Dragon Quest 11 or Shadowrun. But Dragon Quest 11, like, I love it. It's my favorite game of all time. But I've like platinumed that game twice, essentially. Like, I did literally everything on the PS4 version, and I've done literally everything in the Switch version. I have debated picking up the definitive edition on the PS4 so I can get a second platinum trophy, and when I play through it again. But no, I think I would go Shadowrun on the Genesis because it's like a Western RPG. It's like a steampunk cyberpunk thing. It really is. It's like Baldur's Gate, but back on the Genesis, but in like a steampunk setting. You know, like there's so many. All your stats, like everything's based on like your stats, and then like your RNG rolls, basically, and stuff like that. Like, and there's so much to do. Like, there's a really good story. I've never finished the game because I always like I start with like intentions to finish it, and then I get sidetracked doing all like these missions and stuff, and robbing all these like mega corporations to sell their stuff to other rival corporations, and doing like jailbreaks and stuff. Then there's like the whole cyberspace part of it as well. You could like, they call it jacking in to like these terminals.
Your squirrel.
Yeah, I'd like to jack it into that squirrel. Fucking Mega Man Battle Network.
Dude, the memes from that game are so great.
There's a lot, yeah. And even like even when I was like playing through them, I was like, I can't believe they like put this in this game, because I remember playing like 1 and 2 when I was a kid, but I didn't remember any of the memes from when I was a kid until I went back and played them. But yeah, no, there's just so much you can do in Shadowrun, and it's a game I haven't beaten, so I think I would actually take the time. And because I can't look up a guide, I think it might be even better.
Now, if I remember right, there was a Shadowrun on Xbox 360, and it was a first-person shooter. And I actually really enjoyed it. Me and my buddies played it all the time on 360.
So bad.
It wasn't the greatest, but we had fun with it.
It was. I think the problem was they took like one of the greatest fucking like action RPGs and turned it into
a battle royal, basically.
Xbox 360 fucking first-person shooter, right?
Arena shooter.
Yeah. Which I got nothing against arena shooters, but I love Quake 3 Arenas, like fucking one of my favorite first-person shooter games.
But it's not like they took an RPG and turned it into a glorified deathmatch thing. So
yeah,
I get what you're saying.
But I think Shadowrun on the Genesis would be my pick for sure.
So let's honorable mention, and we'll do an honorable mention that does allow a compilation.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
So this doesn't count towards our Desert Island games, but it's an honorable mention that if we were allowed to bring a compilation of games.
Yeah.
Okay. Mine is Mass Effect Legendary Collection.
Yeah, for sure.
All 3 games, all DLC that wasn't multiplayer involved. It's, obviously there's a lot you can do in that game. There's a lot of different choices you can make, a lot of different characters that can live or die. The story plays out differently, based on your decisions and stuff. So
yeah,
I would say that Mass Effect Legendary Edition would be my go-to for that.
Even your party members change, right? Like, because you kind of decide on who joins you too, right?
Right,
Like, based
and
on who you want to help out. And
well,
stuff
and
like
the
that.
mission might go differently too, and you might make an enemy of that character,
Right.
as opposed to letting them join you.
I've only played Mass Effect 2, and I never got to finish it because the load times on the PS3 version were like insufferably bad, and I
Dude,
had to
you
just
should
put the game down.
You should definitely play the series because it's really fucking good.
Yeah, I do intend to, because I really did like the second one. Like, it really had, like, I feel like every Star Trek fan's like number one hope in fucking life is that they make a Star Trek game that plays exactly like Mass Effect.
Right.
I think that would be like the greatest fucking thing ever. But yeah, I really liked it because it was basically like Star Trek, but with more shooting, obviously. But it was those fucking load times. Like, even on the Normandy, like, just going down a floor, it was like,
Yeah.
I think a minute and a half or more every single time you'd go up or down the elevator. And I was like, yeah, I can't do this. But I did get far. Like, I got far enough to where there's like those, what are those bad guys called? Like the Grim Reaper fucking dudes.
The Geth.
Yeah, so I was far enough. Like, we were in like a Geth nest or some shit. Was
Yeah.
like the last thing I remember. So I do plan on getting them eventually. I think that Legacy Collection or whatever the hell, it's on PS4 as well, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. I think that's what I have it for is PS4.
Okay, so yeah, definitely want to get around to that at some point for sure. My choice would be probably. You know what? I'm gonna really cheap out here and go with the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster Collector's Edition on the Switch because it's got Final Fantasy 1 through 6.
That surprises me because I thought sure you were gonna go with the Mega Man Legacy Collection.
I was, but like, I don't know, man, because like I love Final Fantasy 4 so much, and then Final Fantasy 5 is so much fun, and you got the job class options and stuff.
Right.
And Final Fantasy 1's a blast. Like, there's so many good games in there, and it's just it's hard to turn that down.
Plus the music.
And I think it's got like a fucking OST mode. I'm not 100% sure, but
It does.
I think you can go into the menu and actually play the music.
It does,
So,
yeah.
And it's got like rearranged and original, I'm pretty sure. So you can't go wrong there. Mega Man Legacy Collection, man, for variety, I probably should pick it because I don't really have any like action platformers in the mix. But I think I'd make the right choice with the Pixel remasters. It's just there's so many great games in there, and you can burn a lot of time with those, and a lot of them have excellent replay value and stuff too. So.
Right.
First, if you guys should tell us your Desert Island games in the comments. If you're watching this on YouTube, let us know what some of your Desert Island games would be.
Exactly. Yeah. Let us know.
And why. Tell us
and
why
as
well.
Exactly. So now that we've named our Desert Island games and our honorable mentions, we are going to get into a topic that we both are affected by. And a lot of people out there don't realize what all goes into it. And that is content creation. Now, everyone starts at zero, and everybody needs to realize that you do not get success overnight. This is not something that you throw up a video and all of a sudden you're famous. Like, that happens, but it's so rare that it's impossible to predict that happening. You have to do something
you definitely can't count on that happening.
Right. You have to do something so viral and so crazy at the perfect time, at the perfect quality, whatever, for that to happen. So I want to get that part out of the way to make sure that everybody that's listening to this, watching this, thinks like, oh, maybe I should start being a content creator. Just know going into it, it is not overnight success. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and we'll break down that work and talk about it, but that's something that you instantly need to know about this. When it comes to content creation, and Dookie, Corey can back me up here, there's a lot of extra work besides just making videos that goes into this. Keeping up on social media.
You have to keep a Twitter account. I like never on Twitter.
An X account.
Yeah.
An X account. Thank
A
you.
zitter.
Yeah.
A shitter account.
So, and that like, so Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, whatever social media platform you're on, like you have to keep up with it so much.
Yeah, you really do.
And
thankfully, I've got you retweeting all my Twitter posts, so people actually like react to them and stuff now. But even then, like I'm so bad. Like I'm pretty good for keeping up on like Facebook and Instagram now, but man, like Twitter and Threads are like the bottom of the barrel for me. Like
it's like having a second job.
Yeah, it is.
You know, and that's what a lot of people don't realize is that like this is way harder than it looks. Like it looks like two guys just on a camera talking bullshit, you know, and it's, you know, after we get done recording this, I'm going to have to edit the whole thing, which is it's going to be over an hour. You have to edit over an hour-long video, which means, like, for me, that editing process involves, because of the way we record, it involves editing or lowering the volume on certain things that Corey does, or raising the volume on certain thing that Corey does, or even my own audio has to be adjusted from time to time, because, you know, people have different setups, people have different, you know, settings on their stuff, so all of these things
you want them to be pretty balanced.
Right.
You don't want one guy being like way louder than the other, and
right, and everything needs to be solid, and you are the one that has to make sure this happens. So you know, your editing process might be 6 hours on I don't know, 20-minute video.
Oh man,
easily.
I think almost any of my videos, I'm looking at like 20 to 40 hours of editing for me.
Really?
Yeah, but I'm not the most fucking streamlined editor. But like, not even talking just editing though. I'm talking like gameplay capture, right? I'm talking audio, like vocal track recording. I'm talking like scripting, like from start to end. I bet any of my videos take anywhere from 20 to 40 hours.
Well, and the thing is, like, we play RPGs, so if we're recording something, it has, like, I don't know about you, but for me personally, I like to make sure that my clip,
yes, is showing what you're talking about,
right, generally matches what I'm talking about, because I know that, like, other people might not notice, but I notice.
I know, I do. I hate that when in other people's videos, they'll just show, like, they'll, like, loop the intro cutscene 4 times, and they're talking about these specific things. That shit drives me nuts. Right. When it comes to, it's different when you're doing, like, a news video, though. Like, if it's something, like, with those Dragon Quest Monsters ones that I did, like, about a month back or whatever. Like, literally all the footage we have for the game is, like, 2 to 3 trailers. So all I can do is loop 3 trailers, right? Like,
right, and that's
else I can do.
That's how different. That's how I did my news videos too.
Yeah, that's all you can do, right?
Right, but like I think people don't realize, like they think, all I have to do is do a voiceover, and I can throw it on top of a trailer and then release that video, and you very well can do that.
Yeah,
but if you are trying to make quality content, quality videos. And I'm not even saying that news videos are quality content, because I learned the hard way that news videos are great and they get you views.
Yeah.
But eventually you just don't like doing them. Like,
no.
You get to a point where...
And they're very time...
sensitive.
Yes,
Well, and people, like... The problem is that you might build an audience on your news videos. Like, say you come out with... for me... Back in the day, it was Final Fantasy VII Remake news.
Right.
People started to know me, and I grew my channel as the Final Fantasy VII Remake news guy. And that was great for a long time. I got, 100,000 views here, 70,000. A couple of my videos, one hit 400,000, one hit 300,000. Like, you do get quite a few views if you become known as the news guy for this certain game. But the problem with that is that the algorithm it learns your patterns.
Yeah.
And it learns what kind of content you make. So if you go to make
like typecast almost, like
right.
Like your your channel gets like typecast.
Yeah, it's like
basically.
typecasting in movies and stuff. Like if you
Yeah.
see Steven Seagal in action movies and then you try to see him in a comedy movie, you're like, oh, that's weird,
Yeah.
because
Although most of his action movies
are pretty
double as comedy movies because of
really
how bad they are.
for sure. Yeah, but that's the kind of thing. Like you see Tom Cruise in an action movie, you expect to see Tom Cruise in action movies.
Yeah.
And it's like now you're at the point where I don't want to do news videos on this game anymore, or I want to do them, but I don't want them to be the main focus. Well,
Yeah,
then
exactly.
you do those news videos, and let's say you get 100,000 views. Well, because you're known for that, and because the algorithm knows that, you are pushed to those people that are looking up news for that game.
Yeah.
The second you go to make a video that is not Final Fantasy VII Remake news related, you might get 1,000 views. You might not
Yeah.
even get that.
Yeah.
And I had, right now I have over 24,000 subscribers. And if I were to make a Final Fantasy VII Remake news video, I would probably get 10 to 15 to 20,000 views right now.
Even though you haven't
such a long time,
Yeah.
my channel is known for that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do those videos anymore. So now all my videos suffer because of it. And
Yeah.
I'm at the point now where I don't care about that. Like,
yeah.
getting 100,000 views on a video would be phenomenal, be awesome. I'd love it to be a podcast episode, but
Yeah. It's different when it's a video that like you actually like care about too, right?
Right.
Like I always hate a lot of my videos that do the best, which is fucking weird, is the videos that I literally don't have a script for. And I'm just like, well, like I did those 2 news videos, right? I just
Right.
fucking rambled basically and then edited it so it didn't sound as rambly. And then like I think I did my my Final Fantasy 13 trilogy video where I just basically like ranted about the 13 trilogy. That was like my best video for like a very long time. And to me, like I'm grateful for getting those views and stuff because they do bring in people that will find your other stuff and be like, oh, I like this guy, like what this guy's doing and stuff like that, right? Like they enjoy they end up enjoying your other content and sticking around, a lot of them. But at the same time, it's very like disheartening when you spend, like I said, 20 to 40 hours on a video and it gets 370 views, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then the video that took you 2 hours, maybe 4 hours to make gets like, I don't know, like 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 views, right? Like it's very what people need to know is if you want to do this like full time, or you want to like actually make a living or even make a part-time job out of it, you really it's really going to go from talking about stuff you enjoy and doing it as a hobby and doing what you enjoy. It will become a job. It won't become a hobby because you're going to have to, if you want to make money off of it, you're going to have to talk about games that are popular, games that are about to come out. You got to like anything that's like popular right now or people want to know about right now. That's what you have to be talking about. And then you immediately have to segue once that's no longer popular into the next thing. And people like me, like I'm a very fussy gamer. Like I like what I like and I generally know what I'm not going to like. Every once in a while, I like surprise myself either way. Like there'll be something that I don't think I'll like and I end up liking it, and the other way, and vice versa. I mean, but for the most part, like I know what kind of games I like. So like I'm not going to make content on something like Elden Ring, right? Well, like when Elden Ring was at the top, like in its peak. I'm not going to make content on I don't know, just like the new Call of Duty, the new Call of Duty trailer dropped or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? You have to be on top of all this stuff, or you have to be a lot of times you have to be I hate using this term, but like a pro gamer. Like if you've got some like, because I know Mike, my buddy DG, he ended up in this video that did like 200,000 views, and it was like when Valorant was on top of the world when it first kind of came out. And Mike's really good at first person shooters. Like he he used to be in a sponsored team or whatever back in like the Counter-Strike days, like when the original Counter-Strike was like on top of the world. So somebody took like, I don't know if it's just one of his Twitch clips or a couple of his Twitch clips and put two of them in their like, it was like plays of the month video or something, and it got like 220,000 views, and he got a shit ton of followers out of it. But like, if you're really good at a game and you can like show that to people, and people will watch that shit. Like, you'll see that goes for like Twitch as well, right? Like, you've got a lot of people that they're not super entertaining, they're not super interactive with their chat. Some of them might not even fucking talk to their chat, but they're so incredibly good at these games that you're just there to like experience, like to see them fucking play the game, like how good they are. You can see like how fast they can beat it, and the tricks they do to like shave time off and stuff like that. Like there's plenty of people that I watch that I just watch them for their skill.
Right. And the thing is, like, and you mentioned it when you were talking about staying on top of things. I want to also point out that this is also not just making videos, editing, all that. You know, when I was doing hot and heavy remake content, there were times I would have to get up at 3 or 4 a.m. because Japan would release news that early. And I would have to get up, make a video on the information that came out, go to work all day, come back, they would release something else.
Oh, and then you got to revise everything.
And instead of being able to like come home, take a nap, do my thing.
You're making another video.
I would have to make another video at, 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And it's like, you have to understand how much of a time sink this really is if you're going to dedicate to it. If you have, obviously it's harder for me now because I have, a wife and kids. And when I started this whole thing, I did not have that. Yeah. But I mean, you have to realize like you're going to sacrifice time with friends, time with family, time with, your kids. I mean, everything you do is going to be sacrificed in order to make this a full-time thing. You have to understand
or even a part-time.
And even a part-time. Like, if you are that dedicated to it, more power to you. I hope you succeed. Yeah. But I need to stress how much of a fucking commitment this really is. Because for us, it's not really that big of a commitment right now because, one, literally pretty much the only thing I'm doing right now is this podcast.
Yeah.
Corey has a few more obligations in the content creation side than I do at this point. But, I'm still on Twitter. I'm still posting things to Facebook. I'm still on Instagram. I'm still, editing this podcast, uploading it to all the different sites.
Doing my thumbnails.
Doing Corey's thumbnails for his videos now. Like, there's so much.
My thumbnail game is so bad, dude.
Well, it's better now. But it's just, you have to understand that this is not the easy, flashy life you see, because the people that show you that shit aren't showing you the real story.
Or they got super lucky. That happens. That definitely happens. People will get, like, something will just go viral, right? Like, you have no idea of like predicting what will go viral. And then a lot of times it'll go viral. A lot of people will see it. A lot of people will sub, and then a lot of them stick around for the long game, right?
Well, unfortunately, things like going viral can have a negative impact on you as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, like, let's say you do something and it goes viral. Well, now you have felt what it is like to be on top of the mountain,
and then your next like 30 videos get like 3,000 views. Right. You know what I mean? Or
the thing is, not even that. Like, you have a video that goes viral, and let's say you get, kind of popular a little bit. Now you are at the point where you have felt what it's like to be there, and you are going to do whatever it takes to get back there.
Yeah.
And your integrity, your content,
that's a big thing.
Your value, they all suffer because you are going after that viral moment. You have to let those things come to you. You cannot force yourself to go after those things, because if you do, it's like I've read a lot of things like a lot of research, a lot of science, a lot of everything. And one thing about drugs like cocaine is that
you're always chasing. Yeah,
you always get that first high is always the highest, best high you're ever gonna have, and you will constantly do more and more and more and more trying to get to that high, and you'll never get there again.
Yeah.
Content creation is the exact same way. It's like a drug. You get addicted to it. The first time you get a viral video,
not even viral, but like something that does really well. You're like, you want that back like right away.
Right, exactly. So then you chase it, and then it becomes this unattainable thing because you're in your own head about it. And I'll admit, I was there. Anytime I had a video go viral, or anytime I had a video go, 100,000 views or something like that, I was like, what was special about this video? But you have to realize the thing is
nothing.
Nothing. The algorithm does what it does, and it's so impossible to explain. You could put up a 20-minute video that's the best video you've ever made in your fucking life that you'll never be able to top. And it'll get 10 views, and you can put up some jank piece of shit video with nothing different. It could be same title, same thumbnail. It could be 5 minutes long though, and that video goes for 1 million views. You just don't know because the algorithm doesn't let you know what that is.
It's super random. Like there's definitely things that are important that people need to be aware of, like what you title it needs to be like prioritized. The thumbnail, nobody's gonna click your video if your thumbnail looks like it was designed by me. All right.
But the thing is though, even then, think about it though, how many times have you gotten on YouTube and you've seen those videos where it's literally a clip from the video, they didn't put a thumbnail at all, it's just some random fucking clip,
those take off
and it's got a fucking million views. Like
but those are like they're rare,
but they happen, and that's the thing that we have to preface this whole thing with, because if you don't realize that it's so random, it's so unpredictable, you will burn yourself out in ways you never thought possible. And this shit affects everything you do. If you're like me, and I'll admit I had an addiction to the numbers. I would look at my numbers and be disappointed or be really happy, and then that would affect my outside life. Like, I would be upset in my daily life because my video did shit. But I knew internally that it was random. I knew that I had no control over it, but you
have some control. But
you do. Yeah. You can. So there are ways you title it properly, thumbnail properly, kind of remotely a decent length video, tags, stuff like that. There's all tools that allow you to
timestamps. Timestamps seem to help.
Right, and
like all kinds of things.
YouTube is constantly changing, and you don't know what the next change is going to be, and everybody has to adapt to it. And it does feel crazy because, like, you see certain channels, and you're like, all of a sudden they're at 1 million subscribers, and you don't know how. Yeah. But it's just they put in the work, they put in the time, they dedicated to it.
Consistency is a big thing too.
Definitely. Right. Consistency is a big thing too.
But then at the same time, like, there's a guy I follow called Cybershell. I don't know do you know Cybershell at all?
It sounds familiar.
He used to do like Sonic the Hedgehog videos. Now he does like kind of whatever. But he did the Dick Tree. Remember the Dick Tree video? Yeah. For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, is Final Fantasy. Somebody wanted to hit level 99 before leaving the reactor in Final Fantasy 7, and the guy's name was Dick Tree. But anyways, he used to, like, when he first started, it was like every like month or a couple months he'd have a video come out, and they would do really, really well. And then for like, I want to say it was like 6 years, he just dropped off the map. And then he released another video, and it did incredibly well. And then he didn't release one for another year, and then released one and it did really well. So, I mean, you could definitely do it inconsistently, but to increase your odds, you definitely want consistency.
And how consistent was he before?
Yeah.
Like, it's weird because, like, I don't want to discourage anybody from attempting,
No, it's just letting people know what to
Yeah,
expect.
it's more of a warning, like, hey, this seems like it's great, but you need to know the dark side of it
Yeah,
if you're going to know what you're getting yourself into.
I think the big thing for me is like because people are always like, why do you even do videos? Because I always talk about how I hate editing. Like I don't like editing at all. Um, so they're like, that's like 90% of what you do is editing.
Right.
Like, why do you make videos? To me, I love telling people about the games I love or my experiences with games or things in games that I love or didn't like. Like just letting people know um what I'm passionate about, it makes it just something I enjoy doing, right? Like
Right.
I love that aspect of it.
Well,
And I think that's
it helps you find like-minded people too.
that too. Yeah, yeah. But I think when I started streaming and stuff, I think that helped with a lot with that too because on it when you're streaming, topics will just come up at random, right? From the chat and stuff. And you're sharing all your everything you like, everything you maybe dislike with a big group of people that took time out of their day to spend it with you to visit, to hang out, and maybe they're playing the same game as you or maybe they're playing another game, but you're still like hanging out. And I remember like when I was a little kid, like my sister would I'd be playing like Sonic 2 or something and my sister would talk to me and we'd like watch me play it and stuff, right? When
Mhm.
my friends when I got to like junior high school and stuff, my buddy Paul and I would always um buy games that we like alternate buying the game that we wanted because we didn't have a lot of money. So we would always go over and watch each other play games and like take turns and stuff like that. And I honestly think that's why that like streaming is like to me the natural progression of that
Yeah.
because
Oh,
you're
yeah.
essentially just hanging out with your friends while you play a game, right?
Well,
And
I
with
mean, if you think about it, me and you are friends. I go and watch your stream all the time. Like,
yeah,
I'm literally in almost every stream you do when I'm able
yeah,
to. And it's like that's an extension of us like hanging out. And then
yeah,
sometimes after
exactly.
stream we might watch the fights or something. Like
Yeah,
there's
watch a porno
yeah, no.
together.
Absolutely not. No. But like I agree. It is a natural extension of that. And I think another thing that people have to realize is like I think, in my personal opinion, now there are people that are going to disagree with me, and there's people that are successful doing what I'm about to say I don't like doing, but I think that
Cam
you
whoring.
no, Jesus Christ, OnlyFans. No, no. I think when you start out, pick a lane, pick YouTube or pick Twitch, and grow one or the other and then branch out because streaming is a dedication,
Yeah, it is
making videos is a
definitely.
dedication, and if you are putting both of those things, now let's say you're single, you have a job, but you're like you have good hours so that you can do these things. Great. Take the opportunity and build both platforms. But if you're like us, where we're married, we have outside dedications, like you have your martial arts stuff. You know, I'm married, I have a kid that I have to take care of. You know, I also have a full time job. And
Yeah,
so, like, I'm up at 5 a.m., I'm home at 4 p.m. So I can't really, I would have to dedicate one or the other, right?
yeah, for sure.
If
Yeah,
you have the opportunity and can build both, great. If not,
yeah,
my recommendation is to just find the one that you like doing the most out of the two and pick a platform and run with it. Now, I'm not saying you can't do stuff like TikTok or, you know, anything like that,
Instagram.
but mostly what I'm saying is like if you're going to stream, stream. If you're going to do YouTube. Like go with that first and then build the other platforms because it's such a time dedication that you may not be ready for.
Yeah, that's true. Especially when you start out. Yeah, like when I started doing videos actually like a long time ago. We used to have a website called blurryprawn.com and we would do we would do like game reviews. I'd do like top tens and stuff. And then when I moved here and basically all my jobs were just super demanding, right? Like not that they were like hard fucking jobs, but I would go to work at like 6 in the morning or something, and I'm supposed to be off at 2 or 3, and then all of a sudden somebody's calling in sick, people aren't showing up to work, which was like ridiculously common for some reason at my previous job. So I'd be working from like 6 a.m. or 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. You know what I mean? Like I had no time to do anything. So I remember like canceling streams, and I was really focusing on streaming at the time because I just didn't have time to do videos anymore. And it sucked because it definitely stifled my like YouTube career, if you'll call it that, because it was just I was going, and I was doing both. I didn't really have much of a Twitch following at the time because Twitch, I think Twitch is harder to grow than YouTube, honestly.
Oh, for sure,
because
yeah.
if you don't already have friends that stream, and you're not part of like a friend group where you stream, or you're in a chat where everybody's really close, it is the hardest. Like I started from scratch. It was like anywhere from 0 to 2 viewers for like the first, I want to say like 4 to 5 months, right? And I'm streaming like 3 times a week, and it's me and my buddy Mike's brother in chat basically hanging out, right? Like
Right.
it's like, and then my buddy Josh found me very early in my streaming career. So it was like 3 viewers max for like almost a year, right?
Yeah.
And unless you're playing games, and the other thing with Twitch is you don't necessarily want to play the most popular games, but you want to play games that have that are a little older that people love. That's probably your best bet for gaining followers on Twitch. You don't want to be too obscure, but at the same time, you kind of do want to find like these niche groups. But if you play something like Final Fantasy games, Dragon Quest games, something like Legend of Dragoon, Breath of Fire, like if you want to do RPGs and stuff, play a bit of those games, speckle them in there, because those are the ones that everybody has a connection to. If you're just playing fucking Dynamite Headdy on the Genesis, you're gonna find maybe a couple people that'll tune into that, but it's not gonna build you up like something that was at one time incredibly popular and people still love to this day. But you don't want to play. I remember like when fucking Fortnite was on top of the world, a lot of my friends who were like also trying to start out streaming were like, oh yeah, Fortnite gets 10 billion viewers on Twitch, so we should play that. Well, guess what? It's getting 10 billion views, but guess what? Like 8 billion of those views is on one guy. So
Well, that, and not only that, but a lot of people have the same idea.
yeah, that's what I mean. And
so
they're only
you'll
gonna watch. It's oversaturated, and they're only gonna
Right.
watch the more popular.
Right. There
streamers of
might
that
be
game.
a billion views on a game, but there are also a million people streaming that game.
Yeah.
So you can't. It's almost impossible to jump in to say something like Fortnite and get popular, because
unless you're like really fucking good, because
Right.
then word will travel. Like if you're making clips of your highlights, like it will happen. You will get found, I think, eventually. But I mean, you and however many other people that are really good at Fortnite or
Right.
Call of Duty, right?
like
So
you have to.
stand out somehow too.
The thing is, everybody in this world is unique.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about you specifically that people will be drawn to, but you have to find what that is. And so just doing what everybody else is doing will not get you anywhere, because it's something that you have to find your thing. Like, what are you? Who are you? And you have to present that to people. And if you don't, people don't really care. Like, they don't want, if they wanted to watch the FaZe Clan, they're going to watch FaZe Clan. They're not going to watch somebody that's like, oh, this guy's trying to be FaZe Clan. Like, no, they want someone unique. They want somebody to get behind. So besides just picking something that you like, show people who you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because doing what everybody else is doing is not going to get you
sets
anywhere.
Yeah, it sets you apart from other people, right? And then
Right.
people are gonna find, even if you don't know what people like about you, just be yourself, because otherwise people will never learn what they people will never know what they like about you
Hmm.
if you're never you. The problem with content creation content creation today is that a lot of people are fake and overreacting and stuff like that, right? Or they'll pretend to like something because it's popular. That's like the fucking antithesis or whatever to my whole channel.
Right.
Is like,
Same
if
here.
I don't like something, like, I'm not going to pretend to like it. I'm going to tell you why I don't like it. If I love something, the same thing's going to happen, right? People people will watch your videos when you're fake and stuff, and they will support you, but I feel like there's a different level of support and like community when you're actually authentic to yourself and your community. Like,
Right, because if people don't know who the real you is, they have no basis on, like, if they become your friends, that's based on a lie. Like,
exactly, yeah.
everything you do reflects on your persona, as it were, in content creation. So if, like, you are, just doing things for reacts and views and stuff, and then people get to know who the real you is, well, then they're like, well, I thought you liked this, or I thought you, whatever.
Yeah.
And then people are like, well, you're fake. Like, why would I want to be friends with you, or why would I want to watch you if I know
your opinions aren't even your opinions?
Yeah, if your videos aren't real, if you're not real, if your opinions are what everyone wants to hear, if your videos, if you're overreacting because you know that people want to see people like crying and fucking cumming themselves over every little detail of every little thing,
Yeah.
then you're not real. You're not being real, and people can't get behind you on a real level. Like, this whole podcast idea was literally the antithesis to all of this. We were trying to come up with an idea where we talked about things real, like real opinions, real voices, real names. That's why we're using our real names. That's why we're being honest about the things that we like and we don't like, because we want to grow a community with this podcast where you guys know who we are.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm not saying,
and we'd like to know who you are as well. Right. That's the other thing.
And it's funny because, like, I know the internet has given people the ability to hide behind usernames and profile pictures and not reveal who they really are.
Pictures specifically.
And on some level, that is a level of security that people have on, say, Twitter and stuff, where I don't know the real you, but I know what you are when I interact with you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And it's like, we want to be, and I'm not discouraging anybody from using anime profile pictures or whatever, as long as you're not a disrespectful dickhead, but like, if that is your way of having safety on the internet, I applaud you.
Yeah, that's true.
But you can have that anonymity, but still be real. And a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people think that if you...
Unless you're a troll.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people...
Which I can appreciate.
The occasional troll I appreciate,
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, if I don't... While you're under that profile picture or that username, still be the real you. Because whenever you...
At least to the people that you intend to, like, communicate with more frequently, right?
Right. And there's no problem with being comedic, like, I write fucking random, I get fucked up and I write random tweets all the time that, like, aren't 100%, legit. Like, sometimes I'm just joking. Or like when I reply to somebody, sometimes I'm just joking, and that can be hard to tell over text, but I'm still, that's me. Like, if anybody knows me, like, we're in group chats together. We talk all the time. Like, there are things that we say that clearly we don't mean. But that's just our sense of humor. But we're being real with each other. Like, we're being funny with each other, and we can respect that because we know who the other person is.
I like I don't know, like, I don't know what it is about trolls, but I do really like trolls. Like, someone that my favorite of the trolls, and I've done this on, like, pretty much I've only ever done it on, like, I think Facebook and Twitter. And it's usually only in groups that are like for Facebook, it's usually only in groups that are like very volatile, like people that are like easy to fucking piss off.
Yeah.
And I will post something that like is even like opposed to like my actual opinion of on
same.
something just to get a fucking rise, right?
Yeah.
So if you like looked at my like post history or something on Twitter, you might see me posting things that like completely like contradict each other, and that's usually like I'm just full blown trolling. But it's usually I usually only troll when somebody's taking something like way too seriously. That's
right.
Or when it's somebody that's like talking about a topic that they don't know fuck all about, and they're acting like an authority figure on it. That's usually the two things that'll be like, okay, like I'm gonna go along with it. And not only I'm not going to make fun of this guy for not knowing what he's talking about. I'm going to back this guy 10,000% with other made up facts that are way less believable than the facts that he put forth, kind of thing. I do that a lot.
That he'll agree with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with trolls. It's when people are like super disrespectful about it. Like,
yeah, like don't be an asshole, right?
That's the one thing about content creation I also want to point out is that your comment section is going to be either I love your content, I love what you do, or it's going to be
shit. You're wrong.
Yeah, it's going to be a discussion, or more than likely, it's going to be I fucking hate you and your whole family. I hope you die because you don't like this tiny niche aspect of this one game that I really loved when I was growing up as a kid.
And haven't played in 30 years, so the game actually probably sucks.
You're stupid because his hair is spiky intentionally, and it goes to the left for this reason. You're stupid. I hate you. And that's the
Tara's hair is blonde. It's green.
Yeah, that's the epitome of fucking YouTube comment sections because they're so fucking stupid and brain dead
about
most of the time.
That's like overreacting, right?
Yeah, it's the YouTube comment section equivalent of every reaction streamer ever.
Yeah. I never thought of it like that, but it absolutely is. Yeah,
like it's either I love you, your content's awesome, which we love, by the way. We don't want you to discourage from saying those things.
We want you to hate and love our shit.
Right.
Is what we're getting.
We want a balance. We want people to say, okay, I disagree with you, but I enjoy that you are willing to open the conversation. Or, even if you're just like saying, hey, I love the podcast. You guys are awesome. Thanks for releasing or whatever. We love that too. That's great. But if you're intentionally being a fucking dickhead, like
sometimes that's funny too.
That's funny too, but at the same, like, you have to know what is okay to say and what is not okay to say. And some people just take a lot of people take it way too far. So
yeah, they do.
Just know that you are going to feel more about negative comments than you ever will positive comments. But anytime you get a positive comment, embrace that person.
Yes.
Anybody leaving a positive comment, make sure you respond to them.
Absolutely.
Like, if someone's like, hey, okay, we'll just give an example. Like, hey, I love the podcast. You guys talked about something I hadn't thought about in 10 years. I really enjoyed the memories. Thank you. I plan to listen to the other episodes, or I plan to listen to future episodes. I'm going to like, and I'm going to heart that comment, and I'm going to respond to them, and I'm going to say, hey, thanks for listening. We really appreciate it. I'm glad that something from the episode resonated with you. If you like these kind of topics, here's our other episodes. Feel free to check them out. And it might start a dialogue between us, and we might get to know you.
Then you get to know each other even better. Yeah,
right.
And I think one thing, like, you guys as the listeners or viewers, what you need to realize is how important it is to content creators when you do comment and interact with the content that we make. Like, when you say, like, if you're thinking something about the video while you're watching it or whatever, be sure to let us know. Let not even us, let anyone, if you're appreciating somebody's content out there, please be sure to let them know, because like we said, like, sometimes this is like 20 to 40 hours that people spend on these videos. Some people like there's people that'll do like those like 1 hour video essay kind of things that they put hours and hours and hours into. And I know like giving it a like is great too, but it's feels so nice when people appreciate that stuff. And that's another thing, like when you get into it, is the highs are very high. As much as the lows are low, the highs are very high. And
Right.
with streaming in particular, I feel like I've made more friends just from streaming than I have in like the previous, like I don't know, I've been streaming I think I want to say 6 years now. So the previous like 30 years of my life, I've made more friends in the past 6 years than I did in the previous 30 years of my life.
I mean, we met on Facebook, but really we became better friends because of streaming. So,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, like it does have its benefits. And like I said, definitely the algorithm is helped by likes and comments and stuff like that. So, yes, the negative comments still help you, even though they kind of make you feel like shit sometimes. Realize that even though, you know, people might be talking shit, that's helping you too.
It is
You know,
helping.
try
Even
to see
downvotes too, honestly.
Yeah, try
I
to see the
noticed.
positives in what you're doing, no matter how negative it can be, because it can drag you down and it can feel bad. But you just have to think like, hey, buddy, you watched my video, you interacted with it, you commented with it, you just helped me. So I also, like I said, the positive comments are great. We love them. It really gives a self-esteem boost when people are enjoying your content and they tell
It
you
makes
as
you,
much.
yeah, it makes you feel like your work has been like appreciated to
Right.
any degree. Like, and
Right.
it's worth it in the end.
Right. And so, like, if you have a content creator or even a friend that you know is doing videos, it takes 5 seconds to hit like. It takes 5 seconds to leave a comment.
Yeah,
Help them out. You know, like help us out. No, it's just
I have a kind of a funny story actually. So when I got back into doing videos and stuff, my one friend who I used to do videos with, I put out a video. I think it was my I did like a lot of like videos. Anytime I do a negative topic, top 10,
it gets a lot of views.
it gets a lot of views, right? And people just fucking get mad. Like people want to be mad, I swear.
They fight in the comment section.
Yeah. They're like, oh, this top 10 shittiest fucking games. I'm gonna watch this one. He better not have any of my favorites in there. Like, I swear, people like look for that.
But he secretly hopes that his
Hopes
favorite
it's
is
in
in there,
there.
so
Yeah,
he
yeah,
can
yeah,
shit
yeah.
all over you.
Yeah, that's the best. So, because like that video is that's like one of my most watched videos. I can't remember what it is. It's like the top 10 most disappointing games, I think is what it was or something. But it's anyways, when it first went up, it was my probably one of my first videos that went over like the 2,000, 3,000 mark or something. And a lot of the comments when it first came out were just like all negative. And I remember my friend was like, he was like posting, he's like, I think people don't realize how much work goes into these. And then like he'll reply to the shit talkers. He'd be like, let's see you work on a video, make a video. Like he was like just trying to have my back so bad. And it's like, dude, don't worry about it. Like these
Right.
guys, like I don't care that much. And like the fact that they're like angry and stuff, like it's kind of like pro wrestling. You want to get some kind of emotion out of them, even if
Right.
it's anger, right?
You want to be the heel or the face.
Yeah, you still want you're still standing out a bit, even if you're pissing people off.
Right. And that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like that's a lot of shot culture YouTubers do. They will purposely like, you know, one thing I heard a long time ago that is so goddamn true it hurts. If you want someone to comment on your video within the first 30 seconds, pronounce a word wrong. And motherfuckers will fly to that goddamn comment section to say, wow, are you sure that's how you say that word? And then just boom. It's like, and I'm not saying that works all the time, but I'm telling you, it is so true if you do that. Like,
I'm gonna start doing that in all my videos now.
it's funnier than because it's like it doesn't even have to be, it could be something completely innocuous. You don't even have to do anything like that you would think would piss anybody off. Someone is not going to like what you had to say.
Absolutely.
So it fuck cracks me up because like that is 100%.
But another thing I'd like to talk about is because I did say how like when you start from scratch on Twitch and or Kick, I think is the new one, like whatever you're streaming from. If you start from scratch, like that is the hardest grind, I feel like,
Mhm.
like ever. Because YouTube, the algorithm's gonna send it to somebody. Somebody's gonna see it. Like even if you got 15 views, you might get a sub out of that. Maybe your next video gets 32 views. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you can build like at least 15 people are seeing it. When you're on Twitch, 0 people are seeing it. Like until you get to like the 8 consistent viewers, nobody's seeing your shit. And to get that at 8 people when nobody's seeing your shit is very difficult. So I do want to say, and I try to do this in my Discord a lot, like the people that are always on my stream, interacting with me, hanging out all the time, hanging out in my Discord, I'm always encouraging these guys. You guys start streaming. Like if you have, because a lot of times they'll say, "Oh, I want to." Whenever I start streaming, I want to play this game or play that game or whatever. And I always encourage them, start streaming, because I don't want you to have to start from zero. I will do everything. If I'm not at work or something and you're streaming and you supported me for all these years, I'm gonna come hang out with you. I'm gonna tell other people in my Discord to come watch your
Right.
stream. Like I'm gonna send you a raid, like all that stuff. Like I don't want people to have to start from zero if they don't have to, right? Like people
Right.
that I like and people that I kind of developed a relationship with, I want them to succeed as much as I do. And one thing, so with streaming I think is a little tougher to build, because especially when it comes to having camaraderie among streamers, because me and I have a lot of friends that stream now, and it's tough because there are some people like my buddy Juno, a couple other people will watch more than one stream. I think Vector does that all the time too, but for the most part, even if you're good friends supporting each other, when it comes to Twitch, something that's live and on right now and interactive like that, it really always is going to be a competition in some way.
Right.
Whereas YouTube, I like that YouTube is like, I'm in so many like little collab videos because it's it's rising tide raises all ships when it comes to YouTube. Like
Mhm.
it really is. There's no reason, nothing's live, right? So like if the new Soldier First Class video comes out and the new Dookie 03 video comes out on the same day at the same time, I'm just gonna watch one and then the other. You know what I mean? I'm not missing
Yeah.
anything by watching one and then the other. But when it comes to streaming, that's completely different. So I think it's a little bit more difficult to build up on streaming because of that, and it's a little bit more difficult to build up your friends and with your friends on Twitch and stuff because of that. But whereas YouTube, you can find somebody that has common tastes, common likes, and you just send them a message, "Hey, would you want to collab?" And so far, like 100% of them are going to say, like,
Right.
as far as my experience, they're all going to say yes, because you're gaining exposure with collabs. You're helping them gain exposure. You're bringing views. You're bringing their. Not only are you going to be seen if you're on their channel, not only are you going to be seen by all their subscribers and all the people that like watching their stuff, which will grow both your communities, but I strongly believe, because a lot of people don't do this, but I strongly believe that if you're a part of a collaboration or something in a YouTube video, you should be promoting that as if it's your video. Like you should be
Right.
promoting it as much as your video,
I
and
agree.
everybody else should be. And unfortunately, it doesn't happen, because I've had it where I'll collab with like a smaller, and I hate saying smaller YouTuber because I don't even have a fucking 1,000 subs, but somebody that has less subs than me, right? Like say somebody that has like 250 subs, and they'll do this collab video with me and 8 other people or something like that, and I'll tell all my guys to go watch this. I'll post it on my little YouTube community thing. I'll do everything I can to bring eyes to this, so that, because maybe you'll find somebody in there that you like to watch as well, right? Like I
Right.
said, you're not taking anything from me by watching somebody else's video, right? Because you can watch that, then watch mine or whatever. But when people are in a collab and they just like they send the fucking audio file and then and then they're like, GG bro, like to me they're hurting themselves because they're not interacting with this other guy's community. This guy did a lot of work to edit all your stuff together, first of all. He did a lot of work coming up with the idea. He did a lot of work. It's kind of stressful and scary asking people to collab with you too, right? You don't know how they're going to respond.
Well, and the thing is, like, you are not only representing yourself at that point, you are representing this person as well.
Exactly.
So if you make them look bad, that makes you look bad.
It makes you look worse than it makes them look, even.
Right, exactly. So it's like, I understand what you're saying.
It always crushes me when somebody that has like lower subscribers than you, and they do a collab video with you and a bunch of other people, and it gets the same or just barely more views than they usually get. That always like drives me crazy, because that means that me and the guy that did the video are the only ones probably promoting this.
Right. And so you bringing that up about it doesn't matter what size the channel is or whatever when it comes to collabs. And it's funny because I agree with that. And Sam, our friend Sam Valentine, who does the Anti-Content Radio on Spotify and iTunes and stuff, he was talking to me, and obviously, like, so I have a YouTube following. You have a decent Twitch following and YouTube following and stuff, and he has a really decent podcast following. Like,
he's really good.
I think he charts all the time. I think the last time I talked to him about it, he said that he averages 13 to 15,000 listeners.
That's insane.
I think that's what he said. And that's a lot. Like, that's a lot of average listeners for a podcast. And so I mentioned it to him, and he said, like, I don't care that you guys are just starting a podcast. I don't care if someone has one viewer or none or a million viewers. He's like, I want to have them on the show. I want to be on their show. I want to work with them because we're just friends. It
builds everybody up,
right?
Too.
We're just friends talking about a topic or about with each other or whatever it is. And so we're eventually going to be on the Anti-Content Radio show with Sam. He's invited us. We haven't quite worked out.
Yeah, we just haven't found a time.
Yeah, we just haven't scheduled it, but it is in the works. And I think his philosophy is great. Like, we did when I first started, or rather, I think when I was probably around 5,000 to 10,000 subs, in that range on YouTube. I don't remember exactly, but KupoCast got a hold of me, and he's like, "Hey, I'd love to have you on the show. I'm just starting out, but I'm trying to get together Final Fantasy content creators, and you're one of my favorites, and I want to bring you on the show." And I talked to him about what the show was, and what his listener base was or viewer base was, and it's like he had just started out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, let's do it. I'll be on the show.
There's literally no reason not to, unless you're like strapped for time or
something. Unless you have like a time constraint, or like, let's say this person asking you on does not have the same moral compass as you, or things like that. Like, if it's gonna put you in a bad position, like say the person likes to spout off racist shit on Twitter or something, and does their show that same way, and you're like, you get asked to be on their show, and then they're like, oh, well, I don't really, that hurts my image, I don't really want to be on it. That's fine. But like something like that with KupoCast, where he was like, hey, I'm starting out, but I want to get content creators on that I like and stuff like that. Dude, I had no problem doing that show, and I had a lot of fun doing that show.
Yeah.
And, Final Fan TV is another one. They asked me to be on their show. They had just started out. They were getting content creators. And I said yes. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah,
let's do this thing. And there were a couple other podcasts and videos that I did, and I was like, and I promoted them, and I'm like, why? It doesn't have to be a competition.
Exactly.
And if you agree to be on another person's video, you're automatically not competition, because you're literally
working together.
So you need to like do the things that you need to do to promote them, because you're also promoting yourself.
Yeah.
And so like with things like with Sam and KupoCast and at Final Fantasy V, I want to do those things not because of what they can give me, but what the fun of it. If it's supposed to be fun. If it's not fun, why are you fucking doing it? You know?
Exactly.
And I get along with Sam, you get along with Sam, we have, conversations and stuff, and it's like, why not?
Yeah.
So
yeah, to me, and people mention that this is why they like the people that listen to us mention that this is why they like our podcast. Like, to me, a good podcast is just hanging out with your friends, shooting the shit, basically, right? Like,
right.
You come up with the topic so that we don't go completely off the fucking rails. But
how many times do we do? Yeah. How many times? But here's the thing: when you're talking with each other and you're having a good time, and things just come up, like memories. Yeah. Like, because especially
since the viewers and listeners appreciate that,
right?
Too, right.
And the reason, and I think it's cool too, because Spotify gives us the ability to see where our viewers are from. Most of our viewers,
cool.
Most of our viewers are from
even
either
YouTube,
Canada,
YouTube does that too.
Either Canada or the U.S. or, we've got some in Guernsey, we've got some in Nigeria, in Japan.
Germany, I think there was some.
I don't think India is one, and Australia, and we have like this diverse group of listeners and viewers, and it's so awesome to me because like when we talk about things, you'll have somebody from Australia that's like, oh my god, I remember that, or somebody from Japan that's like, oh my god, I played that too, or it's fun to me to see.
Yeah, it unites you globally. All these people that have like shared memories and experiences with games and music and everything, right?
Right, and it's like I just love that and the whole reason we started this thing and the idea behind it was that we are from different countries. We grew up playing similar games, but we also are in this kind of cool area where you played a lot of Genesis. I played a lot of Super Nintendo. Like, we grew up differently, but we also grew up in the same general era.
Yeah, and there's certain crossovers, and then there's a lot of stuff that, like, there's a lot of games you like that I don't, and a lot of games I like that you don't.
Right.
And it's nice to see the difference of perspective, the reason why you like this, the reason why you don't like this, right? And stuff like, and then like going back to the commonalities as well. Like, it's I don't know, you kind of learn about yourself as much as you're learning about the other person. When it comes to stuff like that.
Right. And when we talk on here, it's like something will come up. We'll be talking about a topic and we might give an answer that the other one's not expecting. Or even if you're expecting that answer, like you might say something like, oh, I grew up on that game, or I didn't play that game till later in life, or I didn't know that about you. That's really cool. Or, stuff like that. We're able to become better friends because we're talking on this podcast. And I think that is what I think people like about the show, is that we're able to talk and learn things about each other, but we're also teaching the viewers and listeners things about us that they may not have known. And I think that's a really cool experience too, because there's a lot more personality and a lot more personal connection to our viewers and to each other than there would be had we not done this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's multiple levels of connection with that stuff too. Like, you've got like your surface-based connection where it's like, I played this game. Hey, I played this game too. But then there's like the whole you have a commonality in that you both loved either the gameplay or you loved the story. You both know this same story, right? And it's you felt it in the same way. You experienced the same story in the same way in the same game. But then there's like there's that level, which would be like a little bit deeper, right? But then there's the level where it's like stories about what happened in your life while you were playing that game, or stories of, oh, I remember I was playing this game and I did this one time and this happened. And it's like, oh, I didn't even know that could happen. Like, stuff, there's like different levels of like understanding each other and getting to know each other too. And I think that's what people really appreciate, is not just the surface level. Yeah, this is the story. We've all played Final Fantasy VIII. We've all played Final Fantasy X. We know all these parts. We share commonality in that, but it's when you don't share commonality that I think is when it really gets exciting, because that's when stories like when you said your dog was passing away, when you were talking about that part in Final Fantasy 14 stuff,
Right.
like stories like that is where it's like that's when it gets really interesting to me, is when the paths are on the same route, and then when they diverge is when you start learning more about that person, and then sometimes that memory that they share will trigger a memory that you had, and you can share that. And to me, that's the best part, when you can get to that level with people.
Yeah, I agree, because like, perfect example was when we were talking about Final Fantasy X and my grandma dying. Like, that's something that you learn about me and why I love this game and why it means so much to me, past just the story, the music, and everything else. Like, there's an emotional connection to that, and you've learned that, and like, you can share your experience with Final Fantasy X with me, and maybe you have a similar experience where a relative died or something, or you don't, but you understand why I feel the way I do about the game, besides just the surface level stuff.
Yeah. Like when I shared, like when my dad passed away, I locked myself in my room basically and played the very subpar Dragon Ball JRPG. But when you mentioned Final Fantasy X and like sharing stories, I had to laugh, because your story is very like heart wrenching, and my Final Fantasy X, the Final Fantasy X story that always comes to my mind is when my buddy Finney would always host. He had like, his parents had like a bar above their garage, and it was like a huge room. Like, it used to be a hayloft. Like his garage used to be a barn, and the upstairs was the hayloft.
It cracks me up that you call it a garage.
What do you call it? A car hole?
No, a garage.
Oh yeah, no, it's garage. You've been saying it wrong all these years. I'm gonna type that in the comments.
Yeah, I've been saying it wrong all these years.
Be sure to type in the comments and tell Alex he's been saying garage wrong all these years. Anyways, we would have
cracks me up, because that's how you also say lava.
Lava?
You're like, lava. I'm like, no, it's lava. God damn it, no.
Yeah, lava does sound weird. Lava sounds like sexual. Like lava cake. Like, I don't think I would say lava cake. I would say lava cake. You know?
Jesus Christ. Tangent.
Stick your finger in the lava cake and it starts to ooze chocolate. But no, so we would always have big parties at my buddy's house, and we'd be out partying till like 5 a.m. And then the next day, my buddy Finney would drive everyone home, because he lived on a farm. So he'd drive everybody home, and then he would usually crash at my house because he was tired and hungover as shit. And with Final Fantasy X, I just remember we would like take turns, like, you know, when you're like hungover and you just kind of want to sleep, but you also need something to do while you're awake. We would just take shifts playing Final Fantasy X and sleeping. It was just, that's my biggest Final Fantasy X memory, is that horrible hangover.
Is that
Final Fantasy X with my
Is
buddy
that the
Finney.
bar that you used to film the reviews in?
I did we did some live podcasts from there. Yeah.
Okay, because you showed me videos of that, and it was fucking hilarious. Because you're like getting behind the bar and pouring drinks, and then you're like trying to do the podcast at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking
that
funny.
place is awesome, man.
But yeah, so we kind of went on a little bit of a tangent, but I think people they just really need to realize what goes into this, and I hope that what we talked about tonight gives you some idea of the positives and the negatives, and what you can take from our experience and apply to your guys' content creation career in the future, if you decide to do so. You know, don't be afraid to take the leap.
Don't be afraid to reach out either if you have questions, or if you need help. If you're on the fence about doing this and you don't know, you're not unsure of something, feel free to ask us, because maybe there's no point in you learning from failure what we've already learned from failure. You know what I mean?
Right. And the thing is, things that didn't work for us may work for you. You know, you just never know.
Too, yeah.
But there is one thing I do want to talk about to wrap this up. I got this message a while back, and it really, since we're talking about the podcast and how we feel like it's done a good job of helping us connect with people and respond to people and stuff like that, and just learn about others and maybe inspire people or hear their stories. I got this message on Twitter a while back, and it was from a listener, and you're going to know who you are when I tell this story, but I don't want to say your name for privacy reasons.
Yeah, dox them.
Yeah, exactly. We did, for episode 1, we did a health and fitness segment.
Yeah.
And this person was really happy with the result of the episode, the way the episode turned out and stuff, and listened to it and really appreciated our message, and sent me a voice message, which I'm going to paraphrase because I'm not going to play it on the podcast for privacy reasons. And I'm also, it's been a while since I got this message, so I'm going to probably fuck up some details here, but basically the gist of it is we talked about on the podcast about how, you know, even if you are at your worst point health-wise, like maybe weight-wise or something like that, getting off the couch is the first step. Getting those first steps in is the first step. And this is a topic that gets me kind of emotional because there are things that, you know, people just can't help and everything else, and maybe sometimes mentally they just can't get themselves to do it. And, you know, they just need to take the leap. And if we can help do that in some way,
that's incredible.
So basically the story is that this guy was 300 pounds or more, was very depressed, was very not feeling himself, was not in love with who he was. And to break out of that, he decided to go to the gym and start working out, eating right, doing what he had to do. And he met a girl, and she was a professional wrestler. She was in really good shape and just super fit and everything. And she, you know, they introduced themselves to each other. They started talking. She started helping him get his life together. And if I remember right, the end of the story is that he lost a bunch of weight. They ended up married or engaged. And he's now very, very happy in life.
That's awesome.
And you know who you are. And if you're listening, we both just want to say congratulations.
Yeah, no doubt. That's beautiful, man.
It is extremely awesome that our message on the podcast resonated with you enough to reach out and tell me that story, because I loved hearing it. I loved being able to know that somebody turned their life around. And this, I just want to point out, this was not because of our podcast.
Because of us.
Right.
Yeah.
It was not because of us. This is something that he heard on the podcast, told us his story, and
he had a connection with
connection with the podcast. We did not inspire him to do this. I just want to make that crystal clear. Yeah. But
saving lives and making wives,
right?
Baby.
I really appreciate stories like this, and you know, if you have other stories like this, feel free to let us know. Anybody that listens to this, when I got that message and I got that voice message, I literally, I didn't know how to feel. Like I felt great for this person, but I also was like, it almost inspired me a little bit because I was kind of struggling a little bit with mine. And I've recently gotten back into it again and gotten back to where I'm losing weight or maintaining better than I was. I've lost 26 pounds now. And it just, for me, it really hit home that as big as this person was at one time, he was able to turn his life around and get the things in life that people only dream of.
Absolutely.
You know, this guy is basically marrying his dream girl, or has married at this point maybe, has lost a bunch of weight, feels better about themselves, and overall is just a better person for his effort in pulling himself out of what he needed to pull himself out of. And for that, congratulations. Yeah. Thanks for inspiring people with this story.
Yeah, thanks for letting us share the story too, like telling us. Like I remember even when you told me about it, like it it just like means a lot to us that you're
Right.
willing to even tell us that stuff. You know what I mean? Like that
Exactly.
connection is there. But as you said, like as far as starting small, like every JRPG starts off with you fighting slimes. You know what I mean? Like you don't start off slaying the Dragon Lord. You always start fighting slimes. So that's what it takes, man. You just got to start a little bit. Consistency will always trump intensity 100% of the time, all the time. And just find something you love. Keep doing it, and you'll see results. It won't be immediate, but you'll see them.
And you have to remember too that not everything that works for me or works for Corey or works for, you know, the person of our story will work for you. And
exactly, you have to find what works for you,
right? And you have to work on yourself. And
you have to want to do it too,
right?
That's the biggest thing, honestly.
Exactly. So you know, it shows that.
But you have to do it for you too. You don't. Right. You have to want to do it, but you don't want to do it for those guys who shit talk you because you're overweight or you're whatever, right? You or not in shape or something. Do it for you. Do it because you want to do it. You want to improve not even your physical health so much, but your mental health. Like like when I say consistency beats intensity, you don't have to be a fucking bodybuilder. You don't have to be, you know what I mean? That's not necessarily the goal. That's not necessarily anyone's goal. But just going out, doing something physical, something that you enjoy doing, finding something you enjoy doing, it's going to lift your mental state by quite a bit. You're going to meet new people that have hobbies, the same, like similar hobbies to you. And you just gotta put yourself out there. That's
and if you think about it, the subject of our story here, if he had not decided to walk in the gym that day, he may never have met her.
His whole life would be completely different today.
His whole life would be completely different had he not made the choice to go in the gym that day.
Yep. And that's all it took. That's all it took. That guy went to the gym that day.
Yep.
Chose to go to the gym, chose to change his life, and look where he is now.
Exactly. So it's journey of 1,000 steps. Starts with the first one. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much all I have. Corey, you got anything? Or
no, that was great. Fantastic podcast.
That was a good way. That was a good way to end things, I think. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget we're on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and my YouTube channel. This has been The Gaming Effect, episode 6. Don't forget to rate and share this podcast wherever is possible. We love you. Just so give us a good rating. No, but
but anyway. Also in the comments and stuff, let us know what kind of stuff you want us to talk about too, because we're eventually going to run out of ideas.
Right. Our brains can only hold so much, so we're going to need.
They barely work as it is. Let's be fucking real.
They barely work as it is. So, but anyway, guys, thank you for watching. This has been The Gaming Effect, episode 6, where we talked about our desert island games and content creation. Thank you all for watching / listening, and we'll see you in the next one. I'm Alex, a.k.a.
Corey.
Soldier First Class.
I'm Corey,
and I pointed
Dookie03.
And I pointed the wrong way.
Have a good one, guys.
Have a good one. Later, guys.